and welcome to the Across the Pod NFL podcast for our fifth edition of our wildcard preview podcast episodes. And this time it's a turn of the Buffalo Bills, the second seed, hosting the seventh seed, Miami Dolphins. Now, in the Dolphins corner, it's myself, and in the blue corner, our Bills fan is a first timer on the podcast. You may well know him from the Franchise Tag podcast, friends of the podcast, seen him on a few of their content stuff. I have with me Bills fan Byron. How are you, mate?
Yeah, doing good, mate. I'm looking forward to Sunday. I am.
Much more than me, I'd imagine. We like to ask all of our new guests the same question, especially if they're from the UK. Why the Bills?
Why the Bills? My godmother lives in Buffalo.
Okay.
It was a very easy choice. It was a very easy choice. Yeah, the first thing I thought of, right, what do I have any family ties? I went, yeah, perfect, Buffalo. It was before they drafted Josh Allen, so I can claim that.
That's something I'd always, if I were you, I'd always say that there's loads of people that they see a Bills fan in the UK, which probably aren't one of the more. I think there's definitely more teams that are followed than the Bills in the UK. So I think definitely that's something you need to tell people. Because I think people, especially I think Bucks fans, I think these days have the same issue that if you support a team with a good player or good quarterback or a good team, people automatically assume glory hunter. But if you're a fan before Josh Allen days, then yeah, I salute you.
Yeah, Shady LaShawn McCoy was my first jersey.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I think mine was Dominican Sue was my first jersey.
Okay.
It's a throwbacks there. And yeah, it's all obviously been a Bills fan for a long time now. Who would you say has been your favourite player since supporting the team?
Since supporting the team, oh, Micah Hyde. Oh yeah, I love myself a bit of Micah. He's just one of that. He's a football guy. He's one of the smart. He's if not the smartest player we've got on the team. Just watching him, he does things, and I think to myself, why are you doing that, mate? What's going through your head? And then you see it work, and I never understand why. I love it. He's a good dude. Micah Hyde's my favourite.
So I'm guessing not Zach Moss.
No.
And I can see as well, for anyone who's watching on YouTube, you'll see it, but anyone who's listening to the podcast will not be able to see that Byron actually is donning, if I'm right in saying, a Bills tattoo.
Yeah, and you know what? I literally got that at 10 o'clock today.
Oh wow, okay.
As well as this one, the hands, the love heart for Damar.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. No, I've got my 17 on the back as well.
It's, very nice. Yeah. Ooh, what would you do if Josh Allen changed numbers all of a sudden?
Yeah, I wore 17 when I played football, mate. I'll claim that.
Oh, fair play. Right, let's go into the game itself. Of course, the Bills come into the game as massive favourites. Actually, before we do that, what's your take been on your team season as a whole?
Good. Slightly I say slightly underwhelming. We finished 13-3. Not under. I think that sort of shows where we are with this team. Our offense was an issue in the middle of the season, but it's something that we seem to have. The past 3 seasons we've seen to slump off in the middle of the season, but we're still winning games. So you can't really sniff at it, to be honest. To win the division is fantastic. We'll leave it at that. Could have won the 1 seed, but with everything that happened, it doesn't really matter who gets it. If we won the division, can't ask for anything more than that.
Yeah, I think you guys obviously came in the season as the favourites to win the whole thing, let alone the division. So I think that was more the case now of you've done what you needed to do, and now it's really where the season starts for you guys. And I think that obviously you do come to the game as massive favourites. I think it's a 95% chance you win this game. So I think now you have to just hope that you can. I think the main thing for you guys probably is not so much winning this game; it's more the big sort of thing that's been against you last few years is beating the Chiefs. So I think that's probably your main aim going into the year. That if you can beat the Chiefs, you're probably making a Super Bowl, and then from there on, then who knows? Looking at the stats itself, only one team has allowed more yards per game on offense than the Bills. The Dolphins actually rank 6th. The Dolphins actually have more passing yards this season than the Bills, with the Dolphins in 4th and the Bills in 8th. But here is where the difference lies on offense. The Bills are 9th with their rushing offense, and the Dolphins are 25th. And the same thing on defense. The Bills are 6th for yards per game allowed. Only 5 teams have allowed less. Dolphins are 18th. Bills are 9th in passing defense. Dolphins are 27th. Run defense, both teams are pretty good, both in the top 6. But then points allowed, only one team has allowed less points per game than the Bills, but the Dolphins have allowed the 24th most. So it's it's a real contrast. And I think that is really not even excusing the Tua thing. Also, that is another thing. Tua will not play on Sunday, and his miss will be vital. And he's been sort of a main part of both games this year, where it has come down to the wire. But I think missing him, Armstead hasn't practiced, Raheem Mostert hasn't practiced. It's all going towards the Bills winning. There's not really much that you can see the Dolphins winning. But if there was one thing you think that could potentially win the game for the Dolphins, what would you say that would be?
Yards after catch against our secondary. It's depleted. It has been all season since Micah Hyde got injured in week 2, I believe it was. We've struggled with our secondary. Tre'Davious White has obviously only come back. His first game back was Thanksgiving against the Lions. He's not looking like he's up to speed yet. We've got Kyer Elam, who's a good cornerback, but he's a rookie. He's got learning to do. And against players like Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, they're not, if he can do it against them, he can do it against anyone. He just needs to be able to do it against them. Obviously, we've got Jordan Poyer. Jamal Hamlin's obviously out. That's where we could slip up with our secondary. Our front 7 are solid. That's the problem we've got at the minute on our defense.
Yeah, and I think, certainly in the game we played against you, particularly the one that happened most recently in Buffalo, I think that was the main thing that kept us winning, kept us in the game, was those big plays from Tua, Waddle and Hill. And I think that, we should have run the ball more. I think that was one thing we were doing well on, was the run game. And I think that hopefully this time McDaniel will stick to it, because I think that's really what would have won us the game if we had actually kept going with that. But McDaniel seemed to neglect the run and seemed to go a lot more for the passing game, which obviously worked out well. We almost won the game, but I think that even though looking at stats, going back to the run defense, you are 4th in the league. I think there were times where that was potentially exposing that game, but I think that, for me personally, I think that with Skylar Thompson playing quarterback, it's a tough ask. But I have the faith that, playoffs is a funny old thing. You could be the best team in the regular season, but then it comes to the playoffs and it could be a whole lot different. And I think that we've seen, I remember the 7-9 Seahawks shocking the Saints. Of course, the Eagles going all the way despite their quarterback being injured for the whole playoffs. These shocks do happen. I think that's what we have to go into this thing seeking. It's only our 3rd playoff appearance since Dan Marino retired. It's good to be involved. And I think that's almost gives us the freedom, I think, to go into this game, because we can go into thinking we've done what we've expected. That was our plan for the season, was to make the playoffs. That was our goal, and we've done that. I think anything more is a bonus, especially with what happened with our quarterback situation. And I think that, that'll give us freedom to go into this game and have nothing to lose, essentially. Whereas, flip that to the Bills, where, it is a game where so much pressure on the Bills, from whether that's the fan base, whether that's the media, whether that's the players, even in the team. I think that's the one way we could potentially beat you, with having that no fear, essentially. What do you make about that?
Yeah, but I think that sort of applies with every team, to be honest. It's we can sit here and talk about it for days on end, but the players, unless you're playing in it, you could look on Twitter, Bills fans will be going, yeah, don't worry about it, sack this game off. We're looking to the Bengals next week. But the players know that there are no easy games. It's a cliche, but there aren't. They know what they're coming up against. So they won't be taking it lightly, and that's what matters.
Certainly, I think you mentioned your biggest weakness being the yards after catch plays, and I think that's one thing. One of the biggest strengths of our wide receiver duo, Waddle and Hill, is that they're so fast. They can always create these really good yards after catch plays. I think that's what we have to do, because Skylar Thompson, He's proved it in the Vikings game he played in, and also the Jets game most recently, where he isn't looking great. And even though the protection isn't there, he just isn't. Yeah, he's taking too long to make the throws. And when he makes the throws, it's not always accurate. And I think that if we can win the game, it's not really going to be down to him. It's going to be down to hopefully our defense can for once this season turn up and make. I think the last 2 years in the Flores, there's many times under Josh Boyer where we did make these splash plays on defense or special teams, and that's sometimes one of those games when our offense was struggling, whether that's Fitzpatrick, whether that's Tua, or whoever else was playing at the time. And I think that's one thing we have to just hope that we can, if we can make a screen pass or a short pass to Hill or Waddle, we can hopefully expose our secondary and do it that way. But we will have the final segment of the podcast, which is our predictor part. So we are going to quickly run through our predictions for this game. As you're the guest, I'll head to you first, Byron. What's your score going to be, and who's going to win?
I actually wrote a wildcard preview on the train up today.
Oh yeah.
And I cannot, for the life of me, remember the score I predicted. I believe it was around 33-17 to the Bills.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where are you watching the game? Are you watching it at home? Are you watching it in somewhere out and about? How will you be watching the game?
Well, I don't know. As I said, I got the train up. I've come up to Newcastle. If there's any sports bars open, I'll go. I'm here until Monday. If there's a sports bar open, I'll go there. 100%. I'll go by myself. I'll sit there. I'm not bothered. Chances are it'll be at home, but regardless, doesn't matter. As long as I got Bills playing, I don't care where I am.
That is good. That is good. I mean, it's I was actually in Newcastle last weekend. Half the group weren't into sports, so it was harder to get people to come to watch Raiders against Chiefs, which would have been not exactly a great watch if you're trying to get into the sport. But it's
well, no.
I think there were a few sports. I don't know whether the sports bars would show NFL, but there was the Sky Sports banner on there, so maybe you'll be in luck. But I'm sure being at home probably will be easier. You probably won't have to spend as much money, so it's always that involved. For myself, what am I going to go for here? Because I want to be the Dolphins fan that has the positiveness. I want to be a Dolphins fan that is always behind their team and will always give them a win. But if I'm honest, I can see us running it close. I don't think it'll be a whitewash, even with Skylar Thompson. I can see us giving the Bills some trouble. But in the end, I've got to be realistic. I don't think we'll win this game. But I'm going to say I'm going to go for a 28-24 win for the Bills. I think it's close. But that said, I think the score will be close. I think we may get a garbage time touchdown. But yeah, I do think we will run them close, but maybe at least for the first two quarters, if not maybe at stretch the third quarter as well. But I think that Bills team for me is the best team in the league. They've got extra motivation playing for DeMar Hamlin, and I think that this Bills team, I think if it's not them, the Chiefs or the Bengals making a Super Bowl appearance this year, I'll be very shocked. But that is the end of this Bills against Dolphins preview. So first of all, thank you, Byron, for coming on.
Been a pleasure.
No problem at all. And how can we, if anyone's listening, how can we find you, and what's on the pipeline for you in the next few weeks?
So I've got some articles coming out for the franchise tag. I would give my Twitter handle, but it's not just sports orientated, so I wouldn't trust myself to. Check out the franchise tag podcast. I usually on the fantasy show, but obviously that's over now. But I may be making appearances on the main show on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay, and then final quick bonus question. Presuming the Bills do win this weekend, how far do you see this team going? Are you saying Super Bowl appearance and glory, or where's your prediction in terms of how far this team can go in the postseason?
My heart says we're winning the Super Bowl for DeMar. My head says we may struggle against the Bengals next week, as any team would. But as we know, we on our day we can beat anyone. So, I think we're making the AFC Championship in my head. If it's the Chiefs, it's a neutral site. We're not going to Arrowhead, so Who knows? But yeah.
Fantastic. Well, obviously, I don't hope that happens, but I think, if it does happen and you win the whole thing, I really hope that rather than, as it always is, the owner lift the trophy first, I do hope that they can find some way for Damar Hamlin to lift it first.
Yes.
I think that would be the one positive of the Bills winning would be seeing that. So yeah, fingers crossed. If you do win it, if you have to win it, that they do, because that's one of my biggest pet peeves is the owners lifting it first. Yeah. They talked about it a lot, actually. I think it was a Fumble podcast. They talked about it a lot as well. But yeah, I hope for once it's not whoever the Bills are. I can't think who it is now. It'll be
Terry Pagula. He's a good bloke. He's a good bloke. It is.
I'm sure. Also I made some good friends in Detroit when I went to watch Bills Lions in Detroit this year for Thanksgiving. I made some really good friends who are Bills fans. So very nice, very welcoming people, very nice people, and the whole Buffalo, I'm sure you're aware as well, are all very friendly. So I think that as much as I hate the team to win it, I think the city more than anything else deserves, after all the losses in the 80s or 90s with Jim Kelly as a quarterback. I think that it's a city starving of any awesome sports glory, and I think that those people that I met, especially whether it's David, whether it's Kristen, whether it's anyone else I met on that weekend, they deserve it as well.
Yeah.
But we will see you guys for our next game preview, our final preview, as we look ahead to the Bengals against the Ravens. So this has been the Across the Pod podcast. I've been Andy. This has been Byron, and we will see you guys next time.